Aries. All of a sudden I was like, I kind of forgot if this was Aries. I'm doing a reading. I'm getting that song in my head. I don't want to see you waiting. I've already been too far away. Days went by with endless misses. No more messed up reasons missing. Well, this is not for real. Afraid to feel. I just made the call. Don't ask for more. I'm wasting my time. Oh, that's a song by Default. This band, sometimes I have to sing the whole thing before I can realize it's what it's called. So it's a band called Default, and it's called Wasting My Time. I don't know if you feel like you're wasting your time. Like maybe someone's wasting their time watching this video. Maybe someone's wasting their time doing something in their life. You know, I don't know. Let's see. Let's see. What's going on with Aries? Thank you. These are people in reverse. Okay, so right away, I can see that people that are around you are trying to orchestrate you. They're trying to control you. They're trying to tell the universe when to use you and when to put you away, and where to use you and when to put you away. This has caused a lot of frustration in somebody. Somebody feels like they can't move because 2 7s and a 3. Yes. Wow. Oh my God. Okay, so the universe is like, you have got some self-care, like something is cute, like something pretty big is coming in, because from the looks of it, it's like along the lines of like the Aquarius video, I would imagine, where Aquarius is like, they get their soul back because all these bullies took it away from them. Kind of like something like this. Okay. But it wasn't this. It was different, obviously, right? Because everybody who's going through things, it comes through their life differently, obviously, right? So I think the whole part with the Default song is these people are now wasting their time trying to get the universe to do things and strategically put you places and do things to you. There's medicine here now. Okay. Thy wings are thick and strong. I see, for they have battled the most unforgiving winds. Be proud, be free, my child. Go on, soar like never be. So what this is this dove has come in, okay, to rescue her. So what it's about is facing the most darkest and hardest storms. And like, you see birds out there, man, in the fucking wind, you see them battling that wind current. Like I watched this one bird, I swear it almost took him probably 2 or 3 minutes to get across the road. Like he was flying, and then he'd get a litter, and then the wind would blow him back, and then he'd be flying just a little bit again, and then the wind would blow him back. He was just this little tiny thing trying to battle these harsh winds of reality, you know, and he did it. He got across. It just took him a lot longer than it should have, you know. So like you always get to where you need to be if you're cosmically guided. So if these people, like ornaments is about, you know, like having your ornaments, you put them out. I should probably put it up, right? Sorry. But, you know, when you've got your ornaments, you put them out, you put them in the garage when they're no longer in use, and you take them out when you want them displayed again. That's the whole thing about ornaments. Okay. Actually, I'll read what it says. So it is a remembrance of what once was, and with what will be, a fragile beauty beaming upon thee. Oh my God. Oh, my lips did not want to say any of those words right now. Like I don't have my lips aren't loose enough, you know, like red leather. Woo-wee, ha-ha. Move those lips around. Here we go. Let's try that one more time. So it is a remembrance of what once was and with what will be, a fragile beauty beaming upon thee. So, because they're lighting the candles and they've got all their Yuletide shit out, you know, so it's like these three people, these merry men people, okay, what they did, and this is how much it's changing. So you see those like fucked up crowns or whatever that are on their heads, okay? Whatever it is that they're following, they're guiding something, because to me, like, these are both candle cards. So to me, like, I feel like you were lighting their way, okay? Because they had like, it's like if every soul comes with a personal flashlight, okay? It's like they took your flashlight from you. And they've been using it to see all these amazing things. But I mean, candlelight, you know, back in the day it would be candles. Nowadays it would be flashlights, right? It's like they took all your candles away and they lit them so then they could light their way, okay? And then look at the crown that sits on your head now. It's like a crown of fucking thorns. Like, I dare you try and do that again. Okay, like, yeah, okay, you got a little bit burned. These people would have got burned over the years for doing this to you, okay? They definitely would have felt it in their life. And it's, I mean, let's bring out the characters. Who are these three merry men characters? Please and thank you. Ugh. From the looks of it, these are people that I'm going to say so I think these are like family members that knew what you were. Like, you know, for Pan's Labyrinth, she's always asking for books. She always wants books, right? And her mother's like, why do you do this? Like, that's not the real world. Like, we don't live in books. We don't live in fantasies. Yeah, we do. We live in fucked up people's personal realities. Okay? We very much live through storybooks. And we very much live through movies. People think that movies are real. Okay, I watched this snippet with this guy on this channel, and he went and confronted his mom because he named his kids Dawson and Evie from Titanic, which is Doss and Rose Duplicator, right? Rose, Eve, it's like Rose, Evelyn Duplicator. Okay, so Rose and Dawson. He thought the Titanic was so real because the old lady told such a convincing story. This was a 32-year-old man who thought Titanic was real. Like, of course Titanic has happened, but that old lady and the story she tells is not real. Okay, they just did it. It's a simulation. They just told a fucking story. But he thought it was so real. Like, people live in another world, okay? And that's what this is about. These people, they, okay, I honestly, I really want to say it was your parents, okay? Because a lot of this stems from parents, but not necessarily the parents doing it, but the parents not stopping anything from being done about it. Okay, so the parents being basically the main characters, because they're not helping little Johnny or little Sammy or little Monica to get away from these people. They're encouraging it because they just want to have sex. They just want to have a relationship. They just want to be in love. They didn't anticipate a kid coming in to their relationship and fucking things up. And that kid was you. Great. Cheers. Thanks, Mom. Right? Fuck. So they used, and I mean, no wonder love was in reverse, because it's in reverse. These people should have never, they were wearing masks, and that's even fucking worse. Okay. There's nothing like somebody coming and ruining your life, but then you find out it was all for a scam. So you gave up parts of your life, you gave up parts of this, you gave up parts of that because this person told you a convincing story, or they did something that was convincing, and then you find out, oh yeah, by the way, I was a fraud and I fucked around the whole thing. But it was worth it, and sorry I fucked you over, but it wasn't really about you, it was about me. Like, do you realize that a lot of people, they do actually end up doing that? They will blame somebody else for everything that they did, and then they'll come back 10 years later and be like, yeah, I know I blamed it on you. My bad. You just ruined somebody's life for 10 years. Like, you just come in and apologize, and you're like, oh, my bad? Like, excuse me? What? Right? It's kind of fucking crazy, right? Because that's and that's what's so harsh about this reality that we live in, is like everybody is so full of shit. Okay. And so many people, they'll spend their time, if they're a full of shit person, they will spend so much of their time trying to convince you that they're not full of shit, that you're like, okay, you haven't done one thing but just talk. Like, if you weren't full of shit, we wouldn't even be having this discussion right now, because they would already be done. Right? It's like some people, they have spent so long trying to cover their own tracks up, that when they took your light, when they took your candle, they lit that candle and it gave them all the answers. And then they just fucking, from the looks of it, wanted to just kill you off. Oh my God, I'm getting Madonna's right now. I made it through the wilderness, and now I've made it through. Didn't know how lost I was until I found you. What the fuck? I haven't heard that Madonna song in so long. I do not like Madonna. Woof. Yes. Okay, so this is a reflection of your parents. By taking your candlelight, okay, by taking your karmic flashlight, okay, they felt brand new. They felt like virgins. They felt like they were just suddenly, it's like they were revived. You know, they were brought back to life. Oh my God. But you got out of it, which is why, oh, this is so amazing. I wouldn't be surprised if your parents tried to kill you. Okay. And the thing is that it didn't happen. Okay. It wasn't able to happen because of this guy. Remember him in the corner there? If you've ever seen Pan's Labyrinth, okay. As soon as she gets there, as soon as she gets to the Capitain's house, okay, she is in immediate danger, because that captain is the worst thing possible. He just wants to destroy Spain. That's all he wants to do. Okay. So he's so misogynistic that he doesn't even see women. He sees women as breeders and as wives, and that's it. They are to be home. They are to be taking care of children. And when they die, they're fucking dead. And if they die in childbirth, so let it be. They just want their son. They want their next of kin. That's all these people are concerned about. Okay. So when they got their next of kin, okay, which was you, they obviously did. Okay. Let's go back to the story. Okay. So she arrives, okay, to Pan's Labyrinth, and it's immediate. The faun, okay, shows up. Okay, now the faun has been sent as her last guardian angel. That's the last. She has been sent guardian angels before, and she never saw it, because she's the king's daughter in the underworld. She escaped the underworld. She went somewhere she wasn't supposed to, and she got trapped. Okay, so now the little girl has to come home. So what happens? They get infinitely guided to get back home. But how do they get back home if they have no protection? Everybody around her was going to kill her, right? Which is hence the Capitan actually shoots her in the end, kills her. Okay, but luckily she's at the portal where her blood leaks through, and she's able to be sent home where her mother and father are waiting for her. But if it wasn't for the faun, she wouldn't have been able to find anything. Even though she found the labyrinth to begin with, she was guided towards it instantly by the fairy, right? So her imagination was already going there, right? She already knew. She didn't like El Capitan. She would say like numerous times, he's not her padre. That is not her father. Her father was a tailor. Her father died, right? She is such an incredible little girl that even her parents mocking her and making fun of her, she still stayed in her world because she knew that's what was going to save her. So it's almost like somebody was sent like a faun, and that faun guided you. Okay. So then your parents weren't able to kill you for their love. Okay. And this love was a mockery anyways. Okay. We can read that one. Actually, I wanted to read face. Oh, like eyes without a face. I went literally basically straight to it. Eyes without a face, you are more beautiful than ever. At what cost are we concerned with the judgment and attention of others? Are we saving face or ourselves? Man, I just cannot read today. I'm not a good reader. Oh, God. Okay, I'm going to start that again. At what cost are we concerned with the judgment and attention of others? Are we saving face for ourselves or for those closest to us? Mirrors can be blackened, reflections averted, but we are who we are, and only by seeing ourselves truly can we be set free. Scars are earned, don't hide them. Okay? So your parents or these people who chose this fake love, okay, I really think at the end of the day, they were more concerned about how other people felt about you than how you felt about yourself. If their friends didn't like their kid, then they were like, go away, kid. If their friends liked you, then you could hang out with them. Okay. It was like they almost felt like they wouldn't even accept that you became the most ugliest parts of them, and their reflection that was in you, okay, they even denied as themselves. Looking at you was basically looking into a mirror for them. And they couldn't even accept it. They blamed it on you because they wanted to fuck each other. They wanted the parents, your parents, they just wanted the sex part of it. They wanted to be adored. It's like somebody's mother lived through, like romance movies or novels or something like that, and then would act it out with the husband like, oh, that's exactly how my husband feels about me. He's just obsessed with me. He loves me. He adores me. And then the husband comes home and like drinks all night and then fucking hits her in the face and then fucking bangs her up against the wall and then goes to bed, and she calls that love. You know, like, and because she was reading the novel, she just watched fucking 50 Shades Darker Than fucking Satan. I don't know what that fucking book is called. It's like fucking 8 different movies now. Like, get over it, women. Just buy vibrators and fucking, why don't you just get guys? Like, that's like, don't watch porn. Oh my God, it's so disgusting. It gets into your psyche and it gets into your third eye, and it's so awful for you. It's so bad for you. Like, it honestly, like, oh, I'm not even getting into that. It's so gross. Like, I don't know if somebody's parents made them like watch porno or something like that, or like, this is sex, look at this, and then they acted out the sex scenes or some shit like that. Like, oh. And you know what it was? It was all about saving face. You know, it was all about saving face. They all just wanted to big up on you. You know, that's what these people were about, was just they were always just trying to corrupt you. They were always just trying to fucking put you last, and then put you out when everybody liked you, and then took you away when people didn't like you. Like, and you had to use your imagination. Like, don't be surprised if like you were always in the woods, if you were always exploring, if you were always talking to yourself, if you were always doing things by yourself because your parents never wanted you to come home. Like, my sister and I, for majority of our lives, we spent in the woods. We weren't to, like, we didn't want to be at home at my mom's house. So she always bought these houses in like these small towns at like the end of the fucking courts where like all of a sudden ravines were, and there was just like magical forests and trails and shit all of a sudden in the middle of cities. Like, so we was always just go and hide in the forest, and like I would take myself on adventures. Oh my God, my bike, you know what I remember the other day? So what I would do with my bike, because we always had bikes growing up because our parents never drove us anywhere. So I would take straps and tie them on to my bike and pretend that my bike was a horse, right? And I would hold onto my bike with these things, and I would pretend, and my horses had a name. Okay, my sister would turn her bike into a horse as well, and then we would put the bikes on the grass so then the horses could eat, right? And then we would go exploring around, and we would jump back on our horses again. And it was like, that's how we made it through our childhood. Like, if we didn't do stuff like that, if we didn't have imaginations, we never would have made it through anything, right? So because our parents used us, you know, like they tucked us away. They always went to bars, and obviously kids can't go to bars, right? So they always tucked us away, or they would bring us to places that only their friends liked, or they would only, and then they would just leave us at home. Like, they didn't care how old we were. Like, when I was 3 years old, I had to start kindergarten or some shit like that or whatever. And I was like by myself every day. Like, I woke up by myself. Okay, there was nobody in the house. 3 years old, there's nobody in the house, and I was to take care of myself and then go and find my grandparents eventually. 3 years old. Why was I by myself? Why was there not a parent around? I had to go find my grandparents? Are you fucking kidding me? I didn't. I would make some type of piece of bread with something on it and then go explore in the backyard and jump on my horse. Like, honestly, like if somebody didn't have imagination, they wouldn't have made it through, because some parent chose sex over you. Honestly, what are we at? 20. Okay, 20. Hey, I think I was like giving somebody a high five right there. I was trying to check the time. But I totally am giving you a high five. So like this Dove medicine, why did I put that in reverse? That was supposed to go in reverse. So this Dove medicine, like maybe your parents have died or they've separated now, and it like broke the curse. Oh my gosh, look it. Wow. So Warrior, can you see those? Anyways, Warrior just came out with the boogeyman. Okay, how awesome is that? Which means you fought against this boogeyman. Like this little Michael Myers, like you fought against him. You sought refuge and you defended yourself. That's the Evil Dead 2. You know how he's just in that cabin because even his girlfriend turns into a zombie right away. So he's left in the cabin in the woods by himself, right, with a chainsaw. And Michael Myers comes after you, which I mean is Michael goes after the teen girls all the time. And then he attacks his sister. It's always how it happens, right? He always attacks Laurie at the end. So it's like, and then you know what? Finally, Laurie stands up to him and she stops running because she's been running for years. And that's why it's almost like somebody, they just couldn't hide in this cabin anymore. You know, they had to, and you know, actually, this is reminding me about the Halloween H2O. Okay, this one's probably the original Halloween, but we're going to talk about the H2O one. And Laurie, I haven't seen the 80s one, so I don't know if Laurie's ever went and protected herself like that. But all of a sudden, she was like, no, and she chose to fight him. It's like she just all of a sudden realizes that if she doesn't face the monster, because they're reading about Frankenstein, right? And how Frankenstein, okay? How this demon comes in and kills off all of his family, and then he has to face the monster because the monster is destroying everybody that he loves, which is hence the boogeyman, okay? So your parents have somehow systematically destroyed everything and everybody around you that you've ever loved, because they've taken that light away from you. That light was to help with these people, right? Your light is your light. That's what you're given. That's your karma. You're supposed to own that. That's your own. And your parents took it. So then they got all the friends. They got all the support, right? They were able to scare everybody. They were able to use you. They were able to keep these masks on and hide themselves and act like they're the victim, or we're the victim. We're so lost without you. You had to go on a a completely different journey, knowing that exactly what they were doing in 3D was the opposite of what they were doing in another dimension. And you knew it because you reflected them, and you do reflect your parents. You're raised fucking by them, which means they teach you everything, which means if they teach you to be an asshole because you're watching them be an asshole, that's their fault. If you're suddenly swearing and being a sarcastic prick because that's what your dad is, guess what? That's your fucking dad's fault. Like, you wouldn't believe, like, these little snippets of time that I've spent with children, how I've automatically realized, oh my God, they are watching something that I'm doing, because I wouldn't normally hang out with this child per se, right? Like any of my ex-boyfriend's kids or something like that, or like when I was hanging out with a kid at work the other day, and she picked up on something that I did, and I was like, oh my God, little kids are sponges. Like, if I swear in front of her, if I fart in front of her, if I do something, if I all of a sudden treat somebody, if I throw some drink in some guy's face, she's gonna see that. This little girl sat at my bar and watched everything I was doing. She was the most intellectual, understanding, open 12-year-old I've ever met in my life. Like, I was like, and her dad was just sitting there, and he just like, she made all her decisions. He didn't talk over her. He didn't talk for her. He didn't answer for her. He taught her how to dip her burger in the gravy so then she would eat it, because all she was eating was fries and gravy, because she didn't know she liked gravy, because I offered her gravy and she didn't know what it was. So she ate it and she fell in love with it. Then she wouldn't eat her burger. So her dad was like, hey, I'm going to show you a trick. Dip that shit. She lived full time with her dad. Her mom was barely even around. And I'm like, oh my God, like these little snippets of time that I've spent with kids to realize that they are sponges. They will pick up anything and everything that you do if it excites them or if they've never seen it before. You know, so it's like what your parents did to you, right? They took so many of the greatest things about you away from you because they were embarrassed by you, because you were talking and you were being a vocal child, and they were going, oh, so embarrassing. I'm so sorry my kid's talking to you. And society would be like, what do you mean you're embarrassed? Like, your kid can sit there and talk to me. And like, actually the dad got so comfortable that he finally just went to the bathroom, and he's like, can I go to the bathroom? And then I just sat there and I talked to her the whole time. I didn't even leave her. Like, I stood there with her. It's subconsciously. Like, I didn't even notice what I was doing. And then the dad comes out and he's like, man, you just told her your whole life story, didn't you? And she's like, yep. Because he could hear her talking. You know, she was so loud. She was talking over the whole bar as this little fucking 10-year-old. Like, I don't know. I'm really bad with ages. I would say like maybe 11 or 12. She was talking over the entire bar. She was talking over the music. You know, and her dad was not fucking embarrassed by her. He didn't tell her to be quiet. He was just like, this is my daughter. This is how she is. Like, I was so fucking proud of him that I'm like, man, you're like, this is what's obviously why it's coming up, because I feel like your parents were so ashamed of you, because like once they took your light away from you because they said you couldn't have it, that you were just going to be too bright, that people weren't going to accept you, and they were embarrassed by you. So they took this power from you. Okay. So then they had it all themselves. So you were left with basically nothing. Like, I almost feel like you were just left in the fairy tale of life. Like, you didn't really have much to kind of go off of because you didn't have your light. So what were you, I don't know how they were expecting you to be able to do anything, right? It's like they didn't realize that the thing that they took away from you would, honestly, if it was a car, they just took away the engine. Because what does the engine do? The engine turns over and you get to where you have to go. If your light is your engine and they've stolen it, you go to get in your car and you go to turn on the engine and you can't light it? How are you supposed to find where you're supposed to go? Ever. Which means, now that I'm thinking about it, they took your navigational system. Oh, they took your compass. Now I'm hearing my favorite song in the whole entire world is playing in my head. And you know why it's playing in my head? Because I just figured out the fucking puzzle. And I'm also a gypsy. Oh my God, this was your fate. Like, this was your fate sealed up. Like you subconsciously, oh my God, yeah, you got to be celebrating, girl. This is the fucking girl, boy, whoever. This is your fucking night. This is your prom night. This is it, man. Holy shit. I feel like somebody had a dream about this. All right. Well, we're going to call that a reading, because we're going to call, once a spade is a spade, I don't really need to say anything else. Like, I'm like, okay, that's it. That's the end of the reading. Like, that was it. They took your navigational system. Okay. Well, let's just make sure it's back now. Like, why did you... Okay, is this person's navigational system back? Okay. So, the way that I see this, if I'm understanding it correctly, okay, so your navigational system is coming back. Okay. It's going to come back. It's because it's naturally yours. So it's naturally guided to come back to you. Okay. So clearly your parents or whoever these people are, these merriment people, they're obviously not doing any more magic. Okay. They're not using the compass anymore. So the compass is naturally coming back to you. Okay. So you might be getting these big sprouts of, I need to go do something, but then you just have no idea what you're supposed to do. And then you're like, oh my God, I gotta go do something. And then you're like, I don't know what I'm supposed to do. That means your compass is coming back. Okay. It's going to come back in huge sprouts. Okay. It's not just going to come back in these little tiny, like it's going to come back and it's going to overwhelm you. But the funny thing is about it is that as long as you're working or you're keeping in your life, or you just keep doing what you're doing, you're going to get these big energy sprouts, but it's okay because you can't do anything with it because you're in your life and you're living and you're working and you're contracted or you're fucking bowling or you're doing something, right? So you can't just go out and go do something because you're already doing something. So the world is like, it's okay. These sprouts are going to come at moments where you physically can't go and do anything because it's 10 o'clock at night. And how are you supposed to go hand out resumes at 10 o'clock at night? How are you supposed to go apply for things at fucking, at midnight, right? Because some people's minds, they just go all night, right? And it's like, what are you supposed to do at 6 a.m. when you wake up? Like, you can't even go to the grocery store. Nothing's open. So it's like, you might get these sprouts at really awkward times. And that's because it's coming back to you. Okay. I also feel like, try not to read too much on this. Okay. That's what this whole Pan's Labyrinth thing is about, is it's escaping the words of a book. So for instance, yesterday, my sister and I made a roast and I was like, I'm going to read up on this. I'm going to look up on this. And she's like, why? She's like, we can do this. And we just did it. We actually cooked the best roast. Like, that was my first roast I've ever cooked. And she's cooked a roast before too, but I mean, this was the first time we've ever cooked a roast. Like, I went out and bought a fucking $22 roast yesterday for her and I, and it was fall off the fucking, like, there was no bone in it, but it's like a center bottom sirloin piece or something like that. I tried to get the most expensive one. That's what it was. I didn't know which piece of meat I was supposed to buy. It turns out I bought the best one. And it was fall apart. We didn't look up on it. Our oven said for a roast, 325. Put it into a fucking Dutch oven with the broth and the onions and the potatoes. And like, oh my God. My sister was like, this is the best roast I've ever had. Like, it was falling apart. She thought she cooked it too long. But that's what I wanted. I wanted it to fall apart. I do like rare and medium rare prime rib, but with a roast, I wanted to just fall apart, and it did. It was fucking horseradish on there. We should have made Yorkshire puddings, but next stage we're going to do Yorkshire puddings. Honestly, what the main theme that I'm trying to tell you is, you can do things without overthinking. Okay. Just start naturally doing things. You don't have to look at a book. You don't have to look up how other people do it. Don't look at other people's spells. Don't conjure other people's things. Don't buy witchcraft books or fucking spell books. Do your own. Conjure your own words. Conjure your own manifestations. Do your own things. Don't look too much into anything. Don't read too much into anything, because that's where your mind just starts, like, you're just going to get like, whoa, your fucking circuits are going to start to overload. Okay. So, and it can become an obsession when you know that something that has been gone for so long suddenly returns, right? It can be very exhausting. It can be very controlling. It can be very obsessing. And it's just like, it's going to come in waves. It's going to come in really big waves, but at least it's coming back. So be thankful for that. Be thankful your navigational system is coming back. Be thankful that your disgusting, useless parents are not using them anymore. Okay. And that you're not going to be used as an ornament anymore. Okay. And the world is not just going to put you up on the shelf so they can stare at you anymore. Okay. You're not an urn. You're not dead. You're not a picture frame. You're not a fucking flower. So why the fuck are people sitting there looking at you? You're not an ornament. You are alive. You're a person. Therefore, you deserve to be alive and in your fucking 3D body. Okay. So the dove medicine is the navigational system coming back. And that's why it's the whole bird against the wind, right? You made it in your navigational system. They could have put every single thing in front of that navigational system so that it couldn't find you. Guess what? It's a navigational system. It was destined to find you. It knows exactly where you are, and it will always find you. Nobody can ever keep it away from you, put it that way. So if you've been contemplating a lot, not being able to take too many moves, well, guess what? You earned your fucking place to move on now. Okay? So the contemplation is going to be a mere sign that once you start heading in the right direction, then your contemplation period is going to be much smaller than what it was before. Okay? Or contemplation time is going to be an appropriate amount of time and not overexhausted or overused or abused because somebody knows that you have patience. Guess what? You earned your patience. Now you get to move forward. Okay? So that's it. That's the reading. Thank you so much, Aries, for watching. It was probably a little bit longer than what it needed to be, but sometimes I just like to talk a little bit more than what I need to, just so then people, if they don't understand as much, then they can just understand a little bit more. Like, I hate to just leave a reading and someone's like, well, you didn't explain that very well. And I'm like, fuck, I knew I should explain that better, because I always end up listening to them at some point, just to kind of make sure that, like, the reading goes okay, I'm not over blobbering or talking too much or, Anyways, whitneymoonshine@gmail.com for anybody that's looking for personal emails. If you're not, just enjoy the channel. It's not a big deal. I hope they resonate. I love when you guys let me know they resonate. So let me know if it resonates. If it doesn't matter. And look for more videos coming. Obviously, in the future, I will never stop until I'm dead, most likely, doing tarot readings. So watch for the next one. It'll come up soon. Thank you so much, and goodbye. Peace out.